So no one's talking about how you can get the bass in your mix to translate when it's played on a phone or a small speaker or an AirPod. So you know what it's like, you've got a great mix, and the bass is pumping, and you send it out to your friends or your bandmates, and they can't hear any bass, because you know what they're going to do, they're going to play it on AirPods or on their iPhone. The bass just doesn't come across the same as when you've got full range speakers or headphones. So here's a little trick you can use to make sure that the bass can actually be heard on those devices. So I've got part of a Salt Air track I'm going to play you now, and if you're listening on a phone you likely won't be able to hear much of the bass at all. Have a listen. Now trust me, the bass is actually really banging in my headphones, but it just doesn't translate when played on the phone. So the trick is here to duplicate your bass track to a second track. On the original track I'm going to apply a low pass filter so that none of those highs come across from that track. And on the second track, roll off all of the lows, so I'm just getting the highs. Here I've got a high pass filter at around 250. So the magic here comes from saturation. Saturation gives you upper harmonics from the bass, and it allows it to be heard on devices like phones and small speakers. I'm using Softube in this instance, but you can use any saturation plugin. I've also added a distressor compressor and used the third setting, which is distortion 3, to give it a bit of extra grit. So now we've got a saturated bass track which has no low end on it, just high end. And we've got our original bass track which just has low end on it. Now all that's left to do is to blend our new saturated track alongside our original bass track in the context of the mix. So when you can hear the saturation, that's when it's too much. I want to back it off. So it's just supporting the original bass track. Now if we inspect that on an EQ, we can actually see what's happening. When we bring in our new high saturated track, all of a sudden we've got activity in the mid-range all the way up to about 2K, and that's what's giving the bass presence when played on a phone. For the ultimate check, if you use something like Slate VSX in cell phone mode, you can hear whether that bass adjustment has worked. So that's how you get your bass to translate onto phones and small speakers. Follow for more.